Anyone who lived it remembers where they were and what they were doing when Paul Henderson scored the goal heard round the world. 4 decades later, Paul Henderson tells the story you won't hear anywhere else, of triumph, grace, of life, and death. Since Henderson's time, television and money have turned games into transactions, pitting millionaires against billionaires in a fight for the spoils. Hockey Night in Canada's Gord Stellick looks at how money has forever changed the game. This is Context, the show that looks at life beyond the headlines.
Paul Henderson is a hockey icon, veteran professional hockey player, and scorer of hockey's goal of the century. Please welcome to Context, Paul Henderson. Great to have you here, Paul. You've always said the game will police itself. You said that about fighting when the controversy was. Now we got a controversy about the wages. Is it going to just police itself?
They'll come to a resolve somewhere. I mean, obviously, both sides have an opinion, and they'll settle it. And the players are going to get all they can get, and the management will give them as least amount as they can. It hasn't changed since I played.
You are on record, though, saying that the salary cap in the NHL is a good thing. Why?
Well, it's brought parity to it. I think that, before, if there wasn't, the season would be over at the halfway mark. This last season, I mean, you could pick 6, 7 teams. Well, they won the Stanley Cup. They got in the last week, LA Kings. So I think it's good for parity. I really do. Okay,
your first NHL contract, I don't want to embarrass you, it was $7,000.
That's right, which was minimum salary. Yeah. No negotiations. This is what we're giving you, or we'll bury you so far in the minors we'll never find you.
And in '67, with the Detroit Red Wings, in your new book, you write, you asked for a raise. You asked for a $5,000 raise. What did they say to you?
Well, they told me I was nuts, but it went, well, I tell the story in the book. It's actually a great story. I wish Sid Abel was alive today so I could ask him. And I actually did get the $5,000, but it took my wife crying and telling me to sign for 3, but anyway, it was just a bit of a resolve.
So what do you think now when you see Nashville signing a guy like Shea Weber for $110 million for 14 years? What do you think?
It's got a nice ring to it. But then look at all the time he's going to have to spend investing his money. You know?
Yeah.
I don't have that problem. You see?
All right. Okay. I do want to talk about when it was your chance to perhaps make big money. You had a great famous jersey that this country loved, and you nicely gave it to Team Canada's trainer.
Josko.
Yeah, and he, after a while, I guess, sitting around the house, he gave it to somebody in the States, and then that person sold it to an auction house. And then it comes up, it's up for auction. Canada's shopping mall tycoon, Mr. Goldhar, buys it for $1.2 million. You didn't see a penny of that. No. How badly did that hurt?
Not at all. Not at all. It was just, my grandkids, they said, what were you thinking giving that away? But in '72, there was no real memorabilia market or anything like that. And so, and I gave the other one to the Hall of Fame. Never thought about that. And I've never really been one to collect a lot of things. And most of it went to charity auctions anyway. So, but I guess hindsight's 20/20. If I'd have known it was going to sell for 1.27, I probably would have kept it.
Okay. So, but a year ago, then you did tour with that sweater.
Yeah, I did. Great time.
Mitch's Road Show, and you went to 104 towns and cities. What did you learn about our country and the game?
Well, they went to 105. I went to 24 of them.
Oh, okay. Right.
But it's, well, we wrote that book last year, How Hockey Defines Canada. Jim Prime and I wrote that book. And it really is, I really believe hockey is in the DNA of Canadians. And it's really interesting. People seldom ask me questions. When first time I meet them, you know what they want to tell me? They want to tell me where they were, what they were doing, and the impact that they had. And I've been celebrating that for 40 years, and I still get new stories. Unbelievable. This just happened about 3 weeks ago. A girl came up to me and said, "You killed my grandfather."
Wow.
You know, And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, my grandfather was the biggest hockey fan. When you scored, he got up and he was jumping up and down, and he took a heart attack and died that day. Wow. But he said he went out a happy man. He wasn't young, but you know, I thought, oh man, you killed my grandfather. So. Okay,
you've heard so much about the passion this country has for the game. How do you feel about a lockout at the start of the season?
I think it's sad. I really do. But they predicted this summer it'd probably be Christmas time before they get it resolved. But it's just a part of business. You can't, you know, the fans, we have no say in it whatsoever. But they didn't bring fair in to cave in. They caved in the last time, so they brought him in. And so we knew there was going to be a fight. And of course, Bettman has done an incredible job for the owners. And so now it's egos and it's all that kind of nonsense. But I think it'll probably be Christmas before they get it resolved. I mean, I'm hoping they do, but I don't know.
All right. Well, we're going to return with Paul Henderson to talk about his new book, The Goal of My Life, what that title means. Plus, we're going to return to talk about Paul's battle with cancer, what it's like to live with cancer in his abdomen, lymph nodes, chest, and blood. Paul has some specific advice for everyone facing cancer. Find out what that is. But first this. Has hockey become more about the money than the game? Join the conversation. Send your answers by phone, email, or Facebook. Now, our studio audience is taking a live vote on has hockey become more about money than the game. We'll have those results when we come back. Coming up, how did the game Paul Henderson loves get to be the way it is? Gord Stellick of Hockey Night in Canada Radio joins us for the big picture.